Okay, compound sentences sounds a lot trickier than it is. This is going to talk back at me again, I'm sorry. Really what these are is these are two inequalities put together at the same time, okay? And trying to decide numbers that match up with either one of them or both of them at the same time, okay? Words to cover first of all, and you've probably seen these words before. I think maybe in geometry, I'm not sure. Okay, but intersection and union. When I'm talking about the intersection, hold on, I'm going to make you busy for a second. There we go. The intersection is, I'm going to try to write nicely. We'll see. The set of objects that belong to set A and set B. I'll read it back again. Okay? The set of objects that belong to set A and set B at the same time. Okay? So your example of this would be if I were throwing a party and I said that you get to come if you have me as a teacher and Mrs. Mossberger as a teacher. How many of you get to come? If you have me and Mrs. Mossberger. Okay. So if you are in both groups at the same time, you're considered to be in the intersection. So the word you're filling in here is and. History. Okay. The union is the set of objects that belongs to one set or the other. So either set A or set B. And it would still be okay if you were in both, but as long as you're in one or the other, you're considered to be part of the union. So this would be if I were throwing a party for anyone who has me or Mrs. Mossberger. Now who gets to come?
Everyone.
Everyone in here would. Okay, if you've got me as a teacher, you get to come. If you've got Mrs. Mossberger as a teacher, you get to come. And if you happen to have both, you still get to come. Okay, so which party is bigger? The union, right? Okay, so that's the difference between intersection and union. If you look at it on a Venn diagram, this in here would be the intersection. And the symbol we use for that is A, and then like an upside down U. B. Yeah, it kind of looks like an N. Okay. So this is the intersection in here. Okay. All of this, so anything that's in either one of the circles, all of this, I just did this on the iPad so I could scribble like this, would be in the union. And that's written as A, and then the symbol is like a U for union, B. Okay. So this symbol here, the like upside down U or the N, that's talking about the stuff that's in both at the same time. And this symbol here means the set of everything, whether it's in the first group or the second group or just the middle. Okay? Does that make sense? Follow that okay? Okay. So now, this is what this is really going to end up looking like. If I want to sketch x is greater than 5, or x is less than or equal to -2. These ones are actually really easy. You're just going to take these two number lines, or these two inequalities, and toss them on the number line together. Okay, I'm going to fix my pen real quick. So x is greater than 5. How do I put that on the number line? Okay, open circle on 5, right? And shade to the right. and x is less than or equal to -2. So that's going to be a closed circle on -2 and shade to the left. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So all of those numbers on the right and all of those numbers on the left would be part of this group. Basically, the only thing that's not included is this group in here. Okay? Now the next one. X is less than or equal to 3. So that's closed circle here and shade to the left. Okay? Or x is less than -1. Now normally for x is less than -1, I would put an open circle here and then shade this way. Do you see that that's all already shaded for you? So that's just it. You actually didn't even have to do that second one because the second one was included in the first one. Okay? Does that make sense? It's like if I said I was throwing a party for everyone taking Algebra 1 and Mrs. Turigno's first hour. Okay? Well, if you're in first hour, you're in Algebra 1, right? So you're included in this group already. Okay? Okay. And the last one. X is greater than or equal to -3. So close circle on -3 and shade to the right. Or x is less than 4. So that would be an open circle. But really my open circle doesn't matter because that 4 is already shaded. It's already included in my other group. And then I would shade everything to the left, which means what? What happens on this one? Every number, right? If I said I wanted you to pick a number that was greater than or equal to -3 or less than 4, is there any number you could pick that would not fall in one of those categories? Nope. Okay, so those ones are easy. The or ones, you just plop them both on the number line. See what happens. Okay, the next ones are a little tricky. The next ones have to do with and. And whenever you see and, I want you to be thinking overlap. Because you only want the numbers that are in both groups at the same time. And so to do this, what I normally do is I sketch each one individually up above the number line, and then I translate my final answer down onto the number line. Okay? So for example, x is greater than -2 would be an open circle on -2 and shade to the right. X is less than or equal to 4 would be a closed circle on 4 and shade to the left. But for my final answer, I only want what's included in both groups. Okay, do you see that from here to here, both groups overlap? Okay, so that's what I'm going to put on my final number line. I'm going to say this is a closed circle, because that's what this is. This is an open circle down here, and I want to shade everything in between. And that's my final answer. Now, some of us are used to always graphing inequalities up above the number line. I see that quite a bit. And so what ends up happening is you write this, and then you write this, and then some of you put your final answer up on top. I don't care if you do that, as long as you do something to tell me that that's your final answer. Okay, because when I look to grade this, I look at the number line and decide that that's your final answer. So if you don't have anything on your number line, I don't know which one is your actual answer. Okay? So if you have a phobia of putting things on the number line, that's fine. Just tell me what you're doing. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. So x is less than or equal to 2. So that'd be a closed circle on 2, shade to the left. And x is less than -3. So that'd be open circle here, shade to the left. Now the mistake that people make with these is they automatically think that if I've got an and I've got two numbers that I'm just going to shade in between them. But where is the overlap on this one? Yeah, pretty much everything to the left of -3, right? So my overlap starts here and continues to the left. So really, for my final answer, I'm just going to copy that top one. I'm going to do the open circle there, and I'm going to shade to the left, because that's where my overlap is. Sorry, that got a lot messier than I wanted it to. Okay? Let's try our last one. X is greater than or equal to 2, so that would be closed circle here, and shade to the right. And X is less than -1, so that would be an open circle here and shade to the left. Where do these overlap? They don't. So there's no solution to this one, because there's no number that is greater than 2 and less than -1 at the same time. Okay? That is called the empty set. That means that there's nothing in that group of numbers. Okay? Questions on any of those? One more set to get through. Okay. These next ones, the notation is kind of weird. All right, but I don't want you to get freaked out by the notation. Just look at what it's saying. So let's look at this first one. See how this is written? 2 is less than X is less than or equal to 4. What this is really saying is I want you to shade between 2 and 4. And pay attention to your open circles and closed circles. Like, for example, on the 2, that's just a less than symbol. Okay? So that there's no equal to, there's going to be an open circle on the 2. What kind of circle on the 4? Closed. And X is everything in between. Do you see how the X is located between the 2 and the 4 here? So we're going to just shade in between those two. Okay? Yeah, so this notation is always just in between the two. Just pay attention to your end dots. Okay, on this next one, what does this U symbol mean? Or. Okay? Remember that this is the union, so that means or. And when it's or, those are the ones that you can just put both things on the number line at the same time, because it can be in this group or this group. You don't have to worry about overlap. So I'm going to plot between -1 and 2 with an open circle on the -1 and a closed circle on the 2 in between. So my answers are all of those or everything greater than or equal to 4. Okay? So the or ones, you can just plop them on the number line, both at the same time. This next one is an and. Okay, that symbol is and those are the ones where you need overlap. Okay, so the and ones are the ones that you have to do up above and then translate down. So this first piece would look like this. There would be a closed circle on -3, an open circle on 3, and I would shade in between. And then the second group would have an open circle on 1 and shade everything to the right. Any questions on how I found those two pieces? And now for my final answer, I want to translate just the overlap down. So that would be this and this. And those are both open circles. So open circle here, shade in between. And so from 1 to 3, those numbers are the set of numbers that fall in both this group and this group at the same time. Can you handle that today?
No.
I don't believe you. I think probably the notation is the trickiest part of the stuff you're doing today. Okay?